Hey everyone, welcome to the Curious Girl Diaries podcast. I'm Layla London, aka The Curious Girl. Now, just to let you know, this podcast is not suitable for work. It's also not suitable for anybody under 18. But the rest of you consenting adults, let's get ready to talk about my sex life, sex in general, and everything in between in explicit, raunchy, fun detail. All right, here we go. Hello everyone. Let's jump right in with another Q&A. I'm going to get right to it. Okay, my first question. Let me see here. How many guys have you slept with in the past 10 months? Seems like a lot. Well, let me see here. Actually, I have to go to the website. I need a referral here. 11. Okay. So there are 11 in the past 10 months. Now, but let's put this into perspective, because when I started this sexual road trip, I had only slept with, I think it was 9, but I rounded up to 10, just to say 10, in my whole entire life. So, let's take the actual years that, let's really break this down. I've been sexually active since I was 17. And I am, God, I hate saying it, I'm 44. So let's see, whoops, where's my calculator? So we're going to say 44 minus 17, that's 27, okay? And we'll divide that by 21. Is that right? Yeah. So that's 1.2, basically that's 1.28 2/8 of a guy, 1.28 of a guy every year. So I don't personally think that's high. Yes, it's been accelerated, because of what I'm doing right now, but this is an unusual circumstance. So, I think that even if we just take that number, again, we're, probably 1.28. I'm not going to do the math again, but if you take 11 guys divided by 10 months, what do we got? 1.1 guys a month? I mean, this is not really moving at breakneck speed. This is being, picky, talking to, believe me, I kiss a lot of frogs. Not literally, but this is a big process. It doesn't happen overnight, because I'm not just, like I said, I'm not going to ugly fuck. I'm not just going to jump in bed with people. I have to like them. And, you don't click with everybody. So that's the thing. So I don't think that seems like a lot. I don't think those numbers, when you look at them from just, the 11 over the 10 months, I guess that could seem like a lot, but I don't really think so. But then again, when you break down my total number divide that by the years I've been sexually active, I mean, come on, people, cut me some slack here. Don't be so judgy. Yes, that's to the guy that sent that question in. Okay. Here's another one. Here's a good one. Okay. What happened with the vanilla relationship you mentioned? Well, gosh, last week was a toughie. So last week, I had someone come back around, and I just decided not to re-engage with them. And also I did end up, letting go of that vanilla relationship. And that's a big bummer for me. It's just interesting because, when I go back, documenting all this stuff and writing about it and then podcasting about it is really fascinating. I can go back and, when I started this, I kept saying, what is this making me? Who am I becoming? I was worried about that, and I didn't know the answer, and I still kind of don't know the answer, but I certainly have learned some things, and there's been some things that have become obvious to me along the way about likes and dislikes, and really, what I do and don't want out of relationships in general, regardless of, how committed or serious they are or are not, whatever the case may be. And especially, obviously, sexually, that's really blossoming and growing and changing and moving in all different kinds of directions. But yeah, I definitely had to, you know, I just knew, it was coming. I knew it was burning on it was really bothering me for a long time. I pretty much knew I just didn't want to rip the Band-Aid off. But something about last week, I was just like, it was obvious. Some things were obvious to me and really interesting. And maybe it was that guy from the beginning coming back around that kind of really brought it to the forefront for me. Like, hey, you know what? I've really changed. The person that I started out as has changed. And so I really, that one guy that came back around, I really, in the beginning, I really did like him. And now that I've had, more experiences, and just as time's gone on, it's clear to me that, that's not a good fit. And it's also clear to me too that some other things, aren't a good fit. And now obviously when you end a relationship, we're in that stage where it's, there's still some texting going on. It's done, but it's not, you don't, you can't stick a fork in it yet. But yeah, it's gasping and breathing its last little breath. And, that's too bad. But, I don't, I know that, I am definitely not the right person for him. So, I'd have to really kind of be somebody that I'm not anymore. So that's what happened there. Thank you for asking that question, and making me like stick a knife in my heart. Oh, I love you people. You're great. You're the best. Don't ever change. Okay. Let's see here. Next question. Oh, this is a good one. Okay. Why do you think some guys find your blogging intimidating? I think it's great, and they should turn in their man cards if it bothers them. Well, look, I don't think they need to turn in their man cards. Everybody's entitled to, their opinion and to feel the way they want to feel about it. But yeah, it does. I guess in some ways it surprises me, but then in other ways it doesn't. And so, I just really kind of have to defer to, and ask myself, well, what would, if the shoe were on the other foot, how would I feel about it and what would I do? And the truth is, I don't know. But I could see where, coming at it in the very beginning when you're first meeting somebody and you're finding out about them, as you do when you, are trying to feel out whether or not you could connect with this person. There's things that are going to come up that, that are either going to be yay or nays. I think the truth of this is that, I love it when people self-eliminate. And when they, if they realize, hey, something's not right, or they do something that helps me decide, oh, no, not for me. And I see that quickly, I'm grateful, because I don't know if, I'd rather find that out in the very beginning, straight on, and not have to waste time and then, find out later. This is kind of one of the reasons why I do lean on the side, although again, I flip flop on it all the time, but just, why I'm stuck on just telling people like, hey, this is what I'm doing, and putting it out there and being upfront about it. And, the guys that don't mind it, don't mind it. And I'll tell you, it's interesting because those tend to be those tend to be the really confident guys, the guys that just kind of, they're secure in who they are, they know who they are. And I'll tell you what, the truth is, if you're going to be with me on any level, whether it's casual or, or it's the real deal, you have to be an extremely confident guy, because, I'm really independent, and I'm not going to be probably pumping your ego and stroking it every other second. I mean, I do my best to be complimentary and considerate and all that, but sometimes I get a little self-centered, and I'm, really focused on myself. So, I'm outing myself on that one. But yeah, so, again, to me, I don't think they need to turn in their man cards. I mean, it's just not, it's just not for them. And like I said, I don't mind it. And I do understand why they don't want to be one of, you know, X amount of guys, wherever I get, however far I go with this, or, have to read about or be tempted to read about or listen to me talking about other guys. I get it. I totally get it. So, um, I think that just makes them, I think that makes them smart if they realize this and they know this about themselves, and they're not trying to say, trying to pretend like it's not going to bother them, or it's just something that just doesn't turn them off out of the gate. If it does, then I'm glad that they acknowledge it, and I wish them the best. Okay, the whole curious girl concept is very interesting. How did you come up with this idea? Uh, well, I didn't really come up with the idea. It just kind of evolved organically. I mean, it sprang off a username that I have on the online dating or online hookup site. I don't want to call it a dating site. It's a hookup site. Um, and it just kind of clicked. And then one day, I thought, why don't I, since I made this a goal, why don't I have some fun and blog about it? I've never done any blogging in my life. I mean, I'm sure you guys can tell from the site, it's not very sophisticated. It's funny, I get all these, I get a lot of comments from like the techie guys. They're like, this is wrong, and this is, it's not optimized for this, and blah, on the iPhone, on the iPad, blah, blah, blah. um, and I'm like, I know, yes, it's painful. Trust me, just like the fact that I can actually like write something and post it with a picture. I mean, I feel pretty good about that. I'm like, holy shit, I did something. Or that I can record a podcast and then publish it to the website, like by pushing a button. I mean, like upload it and then stick a picture on there. I mean, I'm feeling pretty fancy now. So let's not burst my bubble. But um, anyhow, I got a little sidetracked on that. But it just the idea just kind of grew, and I basically Forrest Gump my way through it. I mean, my writing's not that great. My blogging or podcasting's not that great. It's just me being me, and either you kind of like that strikes your fancy or it doesn't. But I think it's fun, and it has kind of taken off a bit, and it is kind of a fun little persona, I guess, if you will. The curious girl, and out there doing all this stuff. So yeah, it just happened organically. I just kind of thought, well, wouldn't that be fun? And it stuck, and it is fun. Um, oh God, not this question again. Okay, who is your favorite? All right, damn it. I'm going to break down. I'm going to answer this once and for all, and I don't want this ever asked again. Okay, you ready? Here we go. My favorite is me. That's right. My favorite is me. I'm my favorite person in all of these scenarios. I love myself, and I'm a great lover, and I'm the best lover of all of them. And that's my final answer. My favorite is me. Okay, there we go. You don't have to ask that again. Okay. Why have you never been married? Well, that's an interesting question to ask. Why have I never been married? Well, first of all, I'm not against marriage at all. And I think I've kind of said this before. I have pretty kind of conservative views on marriage, and um, I think that it's something that people need to take seriously, and that means really thinking twice, three times, four times, five times, 10 times before you even think about being ready to do that. There's other reasons that I'm not necessarily drawn to it myself. One of the things is that it's a business contract. It's a contract. I mean, basically, I look at it from a business perspective. It's a business merger. It's really a merger of two financial entities, and you and the other person. And I think that a lot of people get married to better improve their financial situation. And for me, I never needed to do that. And it's interesting because I've asked a lot of my friends that have been married. If you had $5 million in the bank, would you have gotten married at the time? If you were independently wealthy, actually, I think 10 million's recession proof. That's the safe number, but let's just say 5. And they all said no. So really, I mean, people get married for a lot of different reasons, but certainly, security is one of them. So that was off the table for me. I didn't need that. And interesting little sidebar story. When I was in high school, I was sitting around with a bunch of my friends, and we were all talking. One of my good friends, who I'm still good friends with, she said, if I'm not married by the time I'm 25, somebody needs to shoot me. And I looked over at her and I said, if I am married by the time I'm 25, someone needs to shoot me, because I have definitely lost my fucking mind. I knew even when I was younger that I would not be getting married in my 20s. And consequently, I did not get married in my 30s either. It just, to me, I feel like it takes a long time to get to know who you are. And, if you're going to do that, you got to really have your shit together as far as on a personally. You better just, you better be right with who you are and know who you are. But anyway, it's not that I didn't have opportunities to get married. But every time I got to that point with someone, when it would start coming up, I literally would have a physical reaction to it. I mean, I felt like the walls were kind of coming in on me, and my throat would tighten up. And I don't think, I never say never. I never say never. Now that I'm older and I'm a little bit more relaxed, and, I feel like I know myself better and hopefully older and wiser, I never say never, but it's certainly not something that I'm, that's on my radar that I'm seeking out. So I don't know if that answered the question, but it just never, it was never on my to-do list. Getting married was never on my, my list. It just really didn't occur to me. I just didn't want to do it. So, but again, like I said, I'm old. I know at this point in my life, I never, I try not to say I'll never do something, because the minute I say I'll never do something, then, poof. I mean, then you go and do it and you make an ass out of yourself because you've said you'd never do it. And then all of a sudden you are. You sound like you don't know what the hell you're talking about. Okay. Um, Tell me something about yourself that would surprise a lot of people. Oh, well, um, it might, well, there's probably a few things, but um, I think it might surprise a lot of people to know that I'm very civically minded and I'm really into giving back and philanthropy. Um, I'm just, there's certain causes that I'm super passionate about. And, I'm not going to list all of them, but, I do think it's important that, um, you make a difference in some small way, whatever it is. Whether it's financially, you can open up your checkbook and make a contribution, or you're physically um, doing something. So there's just certain underserved segments of the population that could need attention and deserve it. And I just really think it's important to give back. So that's a big part of me and who I am. And I kind of grew up that way. Grew up doing, as a younger girl, spending a lot of hours doing that kind of stuff. So I think it's important. Just makes you a well-rounded individual. Okay. Who is the curious girl really? You're anonymous, and you get to put all this stuff out there about yourself. Wait a minute. Who is it? Who is the curious girl really? You're anonymous, and you get to put all this stuff out there about yourself. Um. Well, geez, I'm not really sure. Who is the curious girl really? Well, really, it's me. It's just me, and it's a sliver of me, right? It's just one component. It's the sexual side, which was non-existent for many years, and too many years. And then, one day I just boom, like I said, I with with my feelings, with my actions, I will just throw the switch and boom, make it happen. So, um, as I've said before, I just decided that this is time to stop this and, steer the ship in another direction. So, the curious girl is just that it's really just the sexual side of, who I am. And, the part of me that's engaged in this sexual road trip, and I'm having a lot of fun, and it's that part of me more and more is becoming less inhibited, um, really much more clear on, what I want and what I don't want. Now, that's not to say I'm not going to go on record here and say that I've got it all figured out and I completely know what I want. No, I am still, that's a work in progress. But, um, I've just decided to invest time, effort, and energy into that aspect of myself. It's just like anybody who sets a goal for themselves. I mean, this was it, have sex and cross things off your bucket list. So that's really, I mean, I don't know if I answered that the way, if that was what this the person who sent this in was looking for, but you know, um, I have to be anonymous. I don't have to, but there's reasons for me being anonymous, and I'm not ready to just say, hey, here's my address and here's here's my phone number. Anybody call me, like that's not, I'd like to keep some privacy, and the other aspects of who I am, separate from the curious girl. Okay. How big is too big? I assume that you mean penises. Cox. Oh yeah, how big is it? Okay, for Cox. Um, well, I don't know. I mean, I can tell you that one guy that I said, that guy that sent me that dick pic. That guy from Australia. Well, shit, that's way too big. There's no way I'm not gonna fuck a baseball bat. Um, but you know, trying to think. It's been so long since I've run across somebody that I just said, that is not going in me. I haven't had that since I was in my 20s. That might have been early 20s. That might have been late teens now that I'm thinking about it. But that's only happened once. Yeah. But I'll tell you what. That's a good question. If I come across somebody and that's the case, I promise I will I'll ask them for measurements. I'll say I've got to document for my own knowledge so that I know moving forward I can pre-screen some guys if I have your measurements. Then I'll be able to say up front, if your penis is this long and measures this big around in circumference, it's a no-go. And then I can add that to my to my online profile there. Like, if you're this big, nope, just move on. Oh, God, I fucking hate this question. How old are you? Okay. You know what? I get this all the fucking time. Now, obviously the site has my age on there. And then, I mean, I'm talking about the blog site. And then my online profile has my age on there too. But you know where I get this? This might have been somebody. I'm going to bet this is somebody off of Tumblr. I get a lot of messages on Tumblr, which is, it's really strange. I'm going to get off on a little sidebar here, because I get messages coming from the Tumblr Messenger, and then I use Keek, and then I'm now using that Burner app, which I like a lot more than Keek. I'm trying to get off Keek. And then, of course, I still have some people that from the beginning that are on a while back that are on, that actually still, I gave my real phone number out to, and we do texting and stuff like that. So when my phone is going off, it's like I am switching, through pages, like, okay, oh wait, no, that was a text. Okay, let me open that up. Oh wait, no, I gotta scroll back a couple pages. I gotta open up Keek. Okay, wait, this guy, and then my Tumblr app, I gotta open. Oh look, I'm getting a message. It's really funny. Anyhow, I know I got off on that. Okay, it was the age thing. So what'll happen is someone will say, they're start chatting with me on Tumblr, and then I mean, like 2 seconds into it, it's like, how old are you? And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm thinking that they're concerned that that I'm a minor, that I'm underage. I see a lot of that on people's, little bio pages. Like, if you're underage, this is not for you. But I think that's what's going on. I think there's a big concern about ages. But anyhow, I mean, I'm always like, well, how old are you? I mean, I always answer it with a question. I'm like, well, hello, and sometimes people just jump in and they'll ask me the most ill-timed, inappropriate things, like before, yeah. It's like the dick picking. I mean, like, really strange where they decide, or why they decide that after 2 sentences that, they're going to jump right in with something super personal. I know that might sound strange, right? Because here I am. I'm obviously, everything I talk about is super personal. But, that's at my leisure. That's when I want to talk about it. It's not just somebody who just walks up and says, hi, how are you? I mean, you wouldn't do that if you were on the street. You wouldn't walk up and say, hi, how are you? Nice to meet you. How old are you? Or, what size bra do you wear? Or, how big are your tits? Or, describe your pussy. I mean, like, no, come on. Let's use some common sense. Just because we're on the internet and we're anonymous, we still need to use our common sense. All right, let's keep our wits about us. This is kind of leading right in. Right, that's a good jumping point for the next question here. Are you still getting a lot of dick pics? Well, yes, I still get, a fair amount, but actually it's been a slow dick picking week so far, I have to say. Not that bad. It might just be really just 2 or 3 so far, which is low. So maybe, I don't know, maybe that podcast worked. Maybe people are paying attention. I don't know. I doubt it. Some people just come right at me. They've never been to the site, so they don't know about my no dick picking preference. But I still do get them, and it still is kind of, I think tends to be more the younger guys. I don't know if I mentioned this. This is so funny. This one guy, I wasn't having it. I don't know this was probably last week. Last week was just a weird week. And I mean, this guy had sent me 4, not 1, but 4 unsolicited dick pics, like continually for a couple days, and with no response from me. So what I did was, and I don't usually do this kind of thing, but I was irritated. So I took his picture, and then I attached to that this posting that I found and saved that said something to the effect of, your grandfather used to write your grandmother love letters the length of a college thesis, and now you're sending dick pics to chicks you don't know, like random dick pics to chicks you don't know. And I just, boom. So I had his picture. I put that below it, and then I posted it on my Tumblr feed. And that was and then I had a snarky little answer, to him about his penis. And I'll tell you something. I thought it looked small. I didn't say that on my posting because I thought that'd be a little too mean. But I thought I'd let that little thing that I attached to it kind of speak for itself. And then I did say just a few little things. But I thought it looked small. Again, I'm like, you should have listened, buddy. You should have listened to my dick pic podcast, because you would have known. You would have thought about the angle. And what is in the background? I'm looking at your dirty towels on the floor. I mean, I notice everything. Everything. So, guys, I mean, seriously, again, I notice if your bed's not made. I notice if there's a t-shirt on the ground. I mean, if you got a frickin' chicken bone, half-eaten chicken carcass on the ground. If you have stains on your carpet. If there's dust on your floors, whatever, I'm going to notice this shit. And, yeah, that's just me. I don't know. Maybe some women don't care, but I'm just, the stuff in your picture says more than you know about you. I mean, it says a lot. So be very careful about what is in the background, number 1. Number 2, again, think about the perspective. This guy it really looked like he had a teeny weenie. I mean, I'm like not impressed. I would not be sending that out if I was him, but hey, this is what I don't understand. So I'm thinking it must just be he must have a big penis, because if he thought he had a small one, would he send out pictures of it? I don't know. It was his whole body and his face and everything, but and then his little wiener, and it didn't look right. So anyway, let this be a precautionary tale to anybody hearing this right now. About the pictures that you take and that you send out. Okay, there we go. And you might want to just cut your head off too. Don't let these pictures be floating around. Be very careful. If you run for president one of these days, you're going to be bummed. All right. What? This must be. What does it take to get with you? Um, well, I assume you mean have sex with me. Um, Let me go out on a limb. I hope I'm not being too presumptuous here, but I'm assuming you mean have sex with me. Um, well, you know, I have my type. So, and I get this all the time. I mean, shorter guys are like, trying to tell me that they're about their prowess and how good they are, and I have no doubt. I'm not. It's not about that. It's about everybody's got kind of their thing, a physical type attribute or whatever. Some guys just like girls with brown hair, or some guys just like blondes, or whatever. Skinny girls, thicker women. There's just a zillion million different preferences, right? For me, I like a tall guy. Which I said, like, I'd say 6'2" to 6'5", 6'5" being my optimum. Um, I don't want somebody that's like 7 feet tall. I mean, that's starting to get freakishly tall. Uh, and that may not be the right way to put it. I'm not trying to pick on tall people. But I mean, I don't want to be looking, tilting my neck and getting a kink when I'm, trying to jump up and kiss somebody. That's kind of weird. Um, so tall, well built, um, and that's what makes me feel feminine. I don't feel when I'm with a guy that's my height. Um, and this is okay. This is not 100% of the time, but like a lot of the time, I just I feel like if we were accosted in a back alley somewhere, that we might both be looking at each other like, okay, who's going to defend who? I want to know, like, I'm with a man, like that's the man, and I'm the female, and that's the dude right there. Yeah, no, I don't know. It's so tall. I like big hands too. I always notice a guy's hands, always, always, always. Um, and just, I mean, you got to have a good personality. And, I have to be obviously physically attracted, but also mentally attracted. So, um, if you're boring, or you just want to, like get with me, like, I come over, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Yeah. I mean, that's just not as appealing as someone that, every once in a while, they, in addition to having great sex, they may want to go do something. We don't have to be doing stuff all the time. Sometimes it's fine to come over and just get right down to business. But I don't want that to be, uh, the only thing we do is fuck. Um, so I don't know. Did I even answer that fucking question? I don't know. I think I just got. Um, it honestly, I would say, is take somebody, pretty confident, and confident and unique, and um I love, funny guys with a dry sense of humor. It's just it's really about the personality is going to win me over or not. Because let's face it, good looking people are a dime a dozen. There's good looking people all over the planet. And, you know, beautiful women all over the planet, gorgeous guys all over the planet. It takes more than that. That's just a check mark on a box. It takes somebody that I genuinely like and am drawn to, and don't mind spending time with. So you have to be interesting. So there you go. That uh, hopefully that answered that. That's what it, you know, takes to get with me. Hey, one thing I wanted to ask was, I don't know why. It's like I'm not feeling like this podcast to me is feeling kind of weird. I don't know. I'm not sure how I'm answering the question. Sometimes I start to get self-conscious about things. I've mentioned that before, like because there's more people commenting and listening and paying attention. And I'm like, oh, and it's hard to stay, totally, uh, I think as free as I felt in the beginning. It's interesting. There's been some trade-offs, right? So in the very beginning, it was just like, "Wah," ignorance on fire. And now, the trade-off is I know some more things. I've learned more about myself sexually. And I've that's evolving, and it's cool to see, hey, I was there, but now I'm here. That's awesome. But the trade-off for that has been that, I have had some um times where, like I said, I've done some podcasts where I just didn't want to publish. I did not want, I'm like, I don't feel good about this. And I'm glad I didn't. I did one and I sent it to my friend. I'm like, listen to this. What do you think? And he's like, no, you do not want to say that. Because I kind of had an axe to grind and I was grinding it. And, I'm glad I didn't do it, like, uh, I used my 24-hour rule, which is a lot of times if I'm in a mood or I am feeling a certain way about something, I try to, like where I'm going to let it rip, because I'll tell you what, I don't have a filter. It can be bad. And, anyway, it was definitely, God, thank God for him. He's such a good guy. What a great friend. Seriously. Because once you put that shit out there, you can take it down, but people are gonna hear it and they're like, oh, she just lost her shit. Anyhow, so glad I didn't do that. But where was I going with that? I don't know. I'm rambling. So I think what I just wanted to say was, what I would love is, if anybody has any suggestions on some fun podcast topics or things that you want me to talk about or focus on, let me know. I mean, shit, I'm willing to talk about it, obviously. Obviously sexual based subjects. But yeah, I mean, I would love some ideas. I do have some kind of, a couple ideas written down, backlogged stuff that I'm gonna try to get recorded. But we'll uh, we'll see. But again, I would so love the you know input. And while I'm on that subject, I really again appreciate the email messages and just that anybody takes the time out of their day, to send me a message or, you know, shows interest in what I'm doing and sends a comment, even if it's constructive criticism, that's fine. Um, but again, I'm so flattered and thank you so much. And I, again, I try to get back to people as fast as I can. And where what's hard for me is that, like, the instant messaging and things like that, because sometimes, I mean, I'm working during the day and it probably looks like, I think people think I'm not, because I could be sitting there on my phone, killing a few minutes, like, okay, boom, 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 I'm going to post something, or boom, 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 I'm going to log in here, and I'm on it's the app on my phone, and I'm not just sitting around, fanning my ass all day. I do work. I work for myself, so I have a lot of leeway. I don't have to worry about, what I'm looking at or, content wise, anything like that. But, I'm out and about. I'm in another car. I'm doing stuff pretty much all day long. So, it's when people want me to do the instant messenger stuff, that's sometimes it's hard for me to keep up on, but I try to keep up on the emails and all that. And again, I really appreciate everybody, sending in their stuff, and thank you so much. And, again, questions or comments, as usual, send those to curiousgirl@thecuriousgirldiaries.com.